So, having a really rough day emotionally. I am still grieving the loss of my dog. He was my son. I actually confused people when I talked about him, making them think that he was human. And in a lot of ways, he really was. He was his own man and had a big personality, and it's hard to be without. And I wanted to make this a Spiritpreneur portal message because I didn't really get to get a whole lot of work done today. I really had to just grieve, and I even had my friend that I do co-working with over today. It was my week to host, and today when she came over, we talked about some shared things, and both just were in like a that kind of mood, in like a lot to process, a lot of emotions coming up, a lot kind of way. And I figured a lot out still. I still did some ego work, some inner work that involved just asking what my ego has been expecting of me, because I'm only a month into being back on the, solo entrepreneur grind, so to speak, cycle. You can't tell by my nose that I've been crying, and also by the way that my scar lights up whenever I cry. It's been a month, and I'm trying not to compare myself to anybody else. I'm trying not to feel like I'm not successful, or I'm not, doing things right, or things aren't working just because they aren't doing what I want them to do yet, or doing them as much as I want them to do. In terms of social media marketing, in terms of just showing up and feeling like my presence is not only received but is healing and growing for others. And I think amidst all of that, the kind of grieving the release of expectations, there is also, the more material here and now grief. Our ego work allows us to see where we're showing up how other people told us to, and rewrite those stories. So there is like a grieving of a version of yourself that had to believe in those things to get along with others and to, make it in the world. And then there's also the physical world grieving, where there was another life form that I really connected with, that I built my life around in some aspects. And I'm grieving their loss. The simultaneity of the two. the two kinds of grieving being simultaneous. It's just feeling really appropriate for the kind of message that I think more people need to hear, which is that you build things and then you need to take them down. And you build things and you need to take them down, or they get destroyed. You build things and then they get destroyed. It's a part of life. It's a part of the cycle of life. And that's why I think even, when I said I'm back on the grind, I'm not back on the grind, I'm back on the wheel. I'm back in the cycle where I'm not just staying on the bottom, getting ground down by the wheel. I am the wheel. I am a part of the cycle. I am accepting the flow of life and death in everything. And that makes me a better entrepreneur. That makes me a better spiritualist. It helps me to connect more to the reality of there is so much that exists beyond what we see. Like our dreams. They exist. Even if we can't see them in the world yet and see them, manifested in our reality yet, they still exist. And it's the same way that, the old version of myself who used to need to check my Instagram insights and, use likes and follows and share data to know whether I'm doing things right and using that as my gauge. That is an old version of me that exists somewhere on a different timeline, which is why she's still so easy to connect to sometimes. In the same way that some days I wake up and I don't even think about him. I don't even think about George, my dog. I just don't. I don't think about him. I don't miss him. And then other days I connect with the timeline where he's somehow still alive, or I connect with the part of me that still exists, that still has him, that where we both still exist, the part of me where we both still exist. Because I guess, there doesn't need to be another timeline where he's still alive. It's just that I can time travel in my mind, in my heart, in my being, my soul. I can time travel and remember what it was like to have him around and to be in that space, and then I miss him. And I really miss him. I miss him hard. I miss him hard, like I sometimes miss the versions of myself that thought I was going to get my linguistics degree and become an editor. That I was going to be an editor in like a publishing company or a lifestyle magazine or something. It's like there's something to that was so comforting and easy and simple. And I grieve for that simplicity. In the same way that with, the loss of my dog, I know that it's not really a loss because his energy and his spirit is still connected with mine. And yet I grieve for the simplicity of our unity. I grieve for the simplicity of feeling his existence and going and being able to see him in the physical, in physical form. The part of me that was a publishing company, editorial assistant, I can't find her. I don't know where she is. I don't have a physical version of her to go find other than in pictures. I think that's why so many of us keep pictures around and go back, is for the, what is the word? Where you're just kind of soaking in the memories. Nostalgia. There we go. It's okay to be nostalgic for a version of yourself. It's okay to be nostalgic for a version of your life that you used to have, and to some days be caught off guard, wanting to just get things done and turn the wheel and find that you can't get things done because there's something else that needs your attention more, which is that nostalgia, that sadness, that missing of something that once was, a version of you that once was, that you learned from, that you loved. And I hope that when you do miss that version of you, you take the time to miss them well, honor them, respect them, and even just sit in gratitude and appreciation for the specific what and how of how you got there, how you moved beyond. What about you do you miss? And is it something that you need to bring back, or is it something that you can teach to others and share? Is it something that you can transform and alchemize now to be of service in the way that you serve as an entrepreneur? Can you create from that space and use the missing and the nostalgia as inspiration, as energetic? And when you can't seem to move the wheel in the way that you maybe expected yourself to with productivity, can you sink back into creativity instead? Can you sink back into restfulness instead? Can you sink back into a place where there's more than just producing and pushing shit out so that you can say that you did something today? Can you go and take a walk and find a flower that's fallen and just sit with it and let it remind you of a time? Yes, you can. The next thing that I felt after asking, can you just, is, I really wanted to start this video because I felt like we need permission. Y'all need permission. I heard myself giving me permission today to know that there are lots of things. I took all of my ADHD, so-called meds today, and I know what I want to be doing in my head, but my body's in a different place. My body is premenstrual and sad and grieving today. And I gave myself permission to be there and to go there. Not to just be there, but to go there. To go into it and allow myself, squeak, 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 allow myself to feel the way that I'm feeling and to accept that my body knows best. My body knows that I need something today that I can't possibly understand. I think for every time that we need to cry or grieve, it's because there's another level of facing something that we're not ready for yet that's coming. That grieving now and crying now and feeling how we feel now, angry, upset, confused, resentful, feeling all those feelings now is going to help you move through something else that's coming. Because luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Every time we deal with something, it's an opportunity to grow and to heal and to reveal a version of ourselves that is more aligned with the vision that we have. And so when we have an opportunity right now, this opportunity is leading to another one. And the only way that I can be prepared for the next one is if I take this opportunity now. If I shun the opportunity by saying, I have too much to do today. I have too much that I have to do today. I cannot accept these feelings. I need to smoke weed. I need to drink alcohol. I need to get some caffeine in my system and get some physical energy back in the direction that my mind sees me going. I could say that, and then I would miss out on the opportunity to prepare myself for something that I cannot possibly see coming. And so when I get there, if I haven't allowed myself to feel these feelings now, it's going to be worse, it's going to be harder. There's buildup. There's emotional buildup. A stagnancy that's created when you don't just let yourself feel the thing. As entrepreneurs, we really want to just get on with it. Our visions are so clear, and the intensity of purpose and passion that we feel propels us forward. At the same time, we are people. We are living beings. There is a time and a season for trees to shed their leaves, a time and a season for them to grow, a time and a season for them to seed and to fertilize, a time and a season for them to fruit, flower. There's a time and a season for everything. So if you're spiritual, which you are, as an entrepreneur, you know this. You know this to be true. That you're only going to hurt yourself and create emotional buildup and baggage that right now feels maybe like a lot, like more than you want to deal with right now for, you know, very specific reasons. But later, it's gonna double, it's gonna triple. And then if you push that down with substances, with avoidance, then there's gonna be another time when it all surfaces all together, and then it's 10 times stronger. And it either blows up at somebody or it overpowers you in isolation and you have a fucking meltdown. If you can't handle the truth of how you're feeling, every time you feel it, every time you feel something, if you can't handle that truth, then how do you expect to serve? How do you expect to be able to serve people and fulfill your life's purpose through all of the passions that you experience? How can you expect to be full in one area of your life if you're not living fully in the truth of another part of your life? I can think of a few people right now that I would love to just hold their hand and squeeze them tight and say, these truths have been surmounting for a while, and I think it's time. I think it's time for you to feel them. If you're starting to feel them a little bit, if you're starting to feel them a lot, and you don't even have space, you don't even make space for a little bit, then either you need to make that space and you need to prioritize making that space in whatever way you can, or Spirit is going to do it for you. Spirit is going to make you sick to the point where you have to be in the hospital for several days. It's going to cause some kind of breakup where you're just in this place of extreme emotion. A breakup, a death, a release, a loss, a destruction, something. The chaos always comes. And if we receive with love every opportunity to feel our feelings, then by the time that chaos really hits us, it won't feel like quite so much. It'll feel like it's about this thing and not about this and 20 other things that I haven't let myself cry and grieve about. You know what I mean? And the chaos is wonderful because it reminds us to make everything important. It reminds us to prioritize ourselves and put ourselves at the center, at the eye of the storm where the calm is and the peace is. It reminds us that you can and you must walk through the most intense part of the storm before you can reach the eye. So when you're feeling feelings and they're keeping you from achieving that place of calm and peace, let yourself feel them and let it prepare you for becoming the next version of yourself that can handle more, because you will always receive more. More is always coming. And if you believe that, then you know you will continue to receive opportunities for becoming more. Let life and grieving and all of your emotions prepare you let them all gift you with the ability to love yourself more perfectly, more wholly, more fully. Because you cannot imagine how fucking fantastic it feels to wake up the next day and not have that swept under the rug feeling tripping you up for a whole week. You take care of it now for a whole day, essentially you're gonna be good. I mean, that's how it is for me, at least. I take care of it when it comes, and then I feel taken care of. Because imagine trying to get work done for a whole week when you're avoiding grieving. Oh my gosh, distraction, 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 disappointment, disappointment, unmet expectations, pushing, grinding, forcing, numbing through substance, numbing through overexertion. That's the path that I used to take. And I want you to feel the permission in this. I want you to feel the permission to take the path of direct compassion. It's not just the path of least resistance. The universe was excited about that one. It's not just the path of least resistance. It's the path of most compassion. On this note, I love you. You have permission to feel your feelings when you feel them. Give that permission to yourself as frequently as possible. And know that you are deserving. You are deserving of the opportunity to meet the universe and yourself and your body where you are at. Trusting that when you do, it's strengthening you, it's preparing you, it's strengthening you, it's sharpening your edges, it's smoothing you, it's making you more gentle, it's doing everything. It's doing everything that you need and nothing that you don't need. Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day.